Okay. So, all set? It's been 1 week, right? Ravi, can you switch on your video? And whoever else has switched off, kindly try to switch it on. Only you're driving, so please switch off. And as soon as you reach wherever, please switch it on. The rest of you can switch it on. Okay, so let's start. So we'll first finish Brahmacharya. Okay, pakka pakka. What we understood was Brahmacharya is where we have to retain the energy. So how do we understand this properly? कहाँ retain करना है, क्या करना है, where does it get retained, and where does the energy come from, and how it is dispersed? So energy is received from various places like eating, sleeping, all this gives us energy. But we also expend it like that. So then what happens is we are left with nothing. Subah kamaya, sham ko khatam. We are living that concept. Now what we need to do is retain the energy. We cannot retain energy per se in a particular way. But what we can do is, because it will start trying to, disperse itself. Energy cannot be gathered technically, but still how we understand it is when you are getting energy out of something, whatever it is, it could be like, just sleeping. Suppose you slept, you got the energy that gets expended. That energy that you get is rajasic in nature. So it will want to do something. So you'll do it and finish it. It will be over. So next what happens is this same rajasic energy, we need to convert or transform it into sattva. That is when there is any retention, if any, happening. The problem is this, is what we do is rajas mein aaya, rajas mein khatam. So that whatever is there, there is always a vibration or a jitteriness left wherein you feel kuch karna hai, kuch karna hai, kuch karna hai. And physically kitna bhi karo, aisa lagta hai aur karna hai. You won't feel sleepy, you'll be feeling restless, all kinds of desires will arise in the mind. All this is because the rajas was not transformed to sattva. If you have like, let's take it in counts, it's easier. 100 rajas, okay? 100 points of rajas. You will expend, ye kiya, wo kiya, khela, you went to work, you went to school, whatever you did, everything, and you spent 80. Now 20 is remaining. You don't know what to do with it. Most people will sleep off. Most people will lie down, watch TV, or try to, because there are desires which are arising and we don't know, suddenly aisa lag raha hai, ice cream khana hai, or you want to do something and there is nobody to fulfill those things for you. What you do is naturally you go to sleep. It's the best option, so jana hai. Most people will do that. That's not technically the best option. For us, we feel is the best option. Kya kare? Ye energy itna, it's rising, irritate ho raha hai, jittery lag raha hai. I think I'll just take a nap and I'll be fine. So what we try to do is we try to divert the energy by sleeping off. So most of us who are sleeping off in the afternoon are in that mode. So, and those who don't, there's one section of people who will not sleep. They will not go into the tamas at all. They'll try to stay awake. But then what they will do with the rajas? What are we going to do with this rajas? What do children do? Just imagine there's so much rajas. हम लोग बोलते सो जा आधा घंटा, हम लोग बोलते बिल्कुल नींद नहीं आ रहा है, रात को सुलाते बिल्कुल नींद नहीं है. They have so much rajas. They don't know what to do with it. Even when they play computer games or whatever they do in the house, it's not expended to the point which they have gathered. So then हम लोग बोलते जा बाहर cycle करके, and then they are tired and then they eat and they sleep off. So that is how they needed to use that energy. So we all have energy. We all need to use it in a particular way. Now, as we age, what happens is the rajas sometimes reduces and we feel like hum log sattva mein hai, but actually we may be in tamas, wherein we do our work, we sleep, we do our work, we sleep, and that's it. So this here is the challenge. So what we need to do is, ye jo rajas hai, all of us have some rajas. That rajasic energy, which is energy technically, has to be moved into sattva. How? See, when you are feeling rajasic and you feel that there is no other way to expend it, what you need to do is maybe do a dance, maybe sing, maybe chant, maybe walk, maybe do yogasana. All these are methods where this rajas, this quality of rajas is transformed. The energy is transformed to sattva. This is the work we need to do. Abhi afternoon mein hai, you're tired since morning. So what do you need to do? Listen to some chants, or you sit and chant, or you read a book and you utilize the energy. Utilize the energy in doing some works which will transform the energy into sattva. This is very, very important to transform the energy. Only then you will be working effortlessly, wherein the work, of course, the rajas hai. Finally, it's an energy. Though it's transformed, it is there. It can't be just kept. But what happens is then work happens effortlessly and the energy is just plainly, just lying there very peacefully. So you're utilizing like very little energy from that. That is how retention happens. But when you work in rajas, it's 100 jama kiya, 100 will go. But when you use sattva, okay, now this is an interesting challenge because it's a bank account. Suppose you have 100 points, and even the minute you transform that 100 points to sattva points ke liye, for the same work you will need only 50% or maybe 25%. So you save so much. So all those who know how to account, just think 100 rupees hai, 100 whatever hai, and if I'm in a rajasic mode, that energy is in a rajasic mode, I will use full 100 maybe and maybe more and fall tired or dead or whatever. But if I transform this energy, you make it into sattvic quality, then I utilize for the same works throughout the day, I will use maybe only 50 points. And I'll still have 50. Now this is clear. I'm sure this is clear for you all. So how to transform, morning when you wake up, you have beautiful energy. You can say, I can do anything. I'm feeling very active in the morning. Everybody feels active in the morning. You should. If not, then check what's going wrong. So you should feel active in the morning. That means, okay, I'm tayar. I'm ready. Aaj kuch karna hai, kind of. That moment, don't start karna. Because it will be minus, minus, minus. So what you need to do is, 100 को transform करना है sattva में. You do some chanting, you do a meditation, you do deep breathing, you do any pranayama, you do yogasana, then you doubled it actually. Not point-wise. Point-wise it will look 100, but the strength of that 100 will be too much. So with that strength, when you go out, you go do whatever you want in the kitchen or in the office or wherever it is, you will see that abhi bhi energy baki hai, abhi bhi energy baki hai, but you use the same points. So now you think about what I'm saying and try this. So the minute you change the quality of the energy, you have more, and however much you do, aur lagta aur bhi hai. So when you feel aur bhi hai, that is when you're in a safe place. But there are two things to understand. One is the physical dispensing I'm speaking of. Second is the mind. Now the mind is very, very dangerous because these qualities are not only physical. See, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, we felt, chalo, sharir se food hai, ye hai. No, the mind can be, mind is rajasic, sattvic and tamasic. When the mind is rajasic, it will be thinking and thinking and thinking and overthinking. That is a rajasic mind. Tamasic mind is, kya sochna hai? So jayenge hum log. Okay? Sattvic mind is functioning from a pure intelligence. So they will not use the mind actually. It will come out of the intelligence ki they'll be thinking, actual thinking, not a clutter of thoughts. This is the problem. Concentrate, khalas, solve the problem, finish, story close. So that focus is there in sattva. So make the mind also sattvic. Mind has to be sattvic. अभी जो बोलते मैं सुबह से सोच रही हूँ पता ही नहीं क्या करने का. सुबह से अगर रात तक एक चीज के बारे में सोचा है तो कुछ नहीं सोचा. It was only you were playing garba with all those thoughts around you. You were dancing with them round and round the mulberry bush. Nothing else. You couldn't find a solution. You didn't know what to do. Means you're only playing with the thoughts. That's all. And hundreds of thoughts. What are thoughts? Thoughts are like bubbles, suppose, okay? And thoughts are everywhere. What I feel is, मेरे दिमाग में thoughts है, But now all of you are thinking, I can see that. And all those thoughts I can take because it's like a transfer. I'm thinking, thoughts are just floating. Okay, you're thinking, thoughts are floating. There are 10 people in the room, all thoughts are floating. Unknowingly, I'm picking their thoughts, they're picking my thoughts. We are just like germs. You understand bacteria and virus, आजकल कैसे spread होता है virus. We wear a mask. So, क्यों उसका virus मुझे नहीं मिलना चाहिए तो मैं mask पहन लेगा. But when I am with everybody around me, am I wearing the mask? Internally, you need to mask yourself. Last few sessions, we spoke unmask. Now we have to speak of masking. And masking with awareness, like Murli ji had told the other day. He joined us from laptop, I think. So yeah, so this is the thing. Now what is it is, mask डालना पड़ता है. That is the awareness का mask. Awareness का mask चढ़ा दो, सबका thoughts घूम रहा है. I don't want this. I don't want this. पता नहीं क्या क्या सोच रहे हैं. I don't want this. You have to be aware of this, very much aware of this. Sometimes what happens is, I am vulnerable. Suppose I am sitting next to someone and that person is thinking of ice cream, pizza, ये वो. थोड़े टाइम में वो thoughts मेरे mind में भी enter हो गए because I had kept my mind very much open. फिर मुझे ना पिज्जा खाने का मन हो रहा है, जबकि सुबह से बिल्कुल नहीं था, कभी भी नहीं था, मुझे पसंद भी नहीं था शायद. But I just picked the बाजू वाले का thought. Pizza is just an example. Somebody is having different types of desire around you. Those desires are going to get transmitted like thoughts, and that you're going to pick. This is where awareness is important. And we will think, ऐसा वाला thoughts तो मुझे नहीं आना चाहिए था, पता नहीं कहाँ से आया, कहाँ से नहीं, आजू बाजू से वायरस आ गया. It's very natural. तो हम लोग ने मास्क नहीं पहना था. We were not aware. So we picked those thoughts. It could be any kind of thought. Believe me, any kind of thought, because there is no gatekeeper. Okay, there is no filter. There is no filter. वो ऐसे ही enter हो जाएगा. Just like virus आ गया, वो भी आ गया. तो क्या करना है? Immunity बढ़ाना है. वायरस तो आएगा ही. Suppose मास्क पहने भूल गए, for whatever reason aware नहीं थे, फिर भी लगना नहीं चाहिए वो वाले thoughts. कैसे? Immunity बढ़ाओ. Immunity कैसे बढ़ाए? Mantra chant करो. Constantly try to remember that when I'm doing certain things where I don't need to be like actually focused, you can back off your head, start chanting a mantra. It could be Om Namah Shivaya, it could be Om. While cooking and all, suddenly when you know कि अरे बहुत सारा thoughts आने लगता है, I'm not able to focus on my cooking, then do a mantra. It is still safer, because if you're not focusing on the food, you're thinking something which is not required. You could be thinking of a sickness or a job problem or a negative thing. All that energy is going to get passed into the food. So best thing is mantra chanting karo. Kuch bhi chanting karo, gana gao, bhajan. It doesn't matter what you're saying. Just be playful and joyful. Okay. So these were the important things about Brahmacharya which we needed to know, because it says very clearly in this. Yes, Nisha. Do you want to ask something?
Basically, I want to add something to the thoughts.
Yes, please.
I'm just reading a book, and yesterday I just came across the same topic of thoughts. So in the book, it is mentioned that there are 4 types of thoughts that we have in our life. The first type is the pure and the powerful thoughts that are positive, selfless, and all. Those are the pure ones. The second type of thoughts are the negative thoughts, which are the anger, ego, resentment, fear, rejection, criticism, all of those. The third type of thought is the necessary thoughts. So those thoughts are related to the action. So these would be the neutral thoughts that we have. And if we, keep looking a lot on those, they might turn into a positive thought or a negative thought. So the third type is the neutral one. So the example that is mentioned in the book is that example, I want to go to the airport. So now that is a necessary thought that I have to reach to the airport. So if we go on to it, the negative thought would be, shit, what if I get a traffic? What if I'm getting delayed and all of those? So that would be the negative thought. And the positive thought would be, I will reach the airport on time. I will go on to the plane and catch the flight properly and stuff. So basically, the third type is the neutral ones, where you do not attach the negative or the positive one. And the fourth type of thought is the waste thoughts. So which are the thoughts about the past or the future? Both not in our control, and so those are the waste of time and energy. So basically, since you were saying about the thoughts, I thought I will just add on to it that these are the 4 types of thoughts that we have in our lives.
Yes, it's very beautiful. The third type is neutral, which is very important. That airport jana hai, chalo. Why to attach thoughts कि पहुंचेंगे कि नहीं और कि नहीं. These are all the past experiences that come up like thoughts in front of us saying कि last time याद है क्या हुआ था, and suddenly it अरे यार वो टैक्सी वाला आया ही नहीं था, and all these things, no, these are unnecessary and expending energy and not getting into brahmacharya at all. Okay, so brahmacharya के बारे में जितना भी discuss करेंगे it will be less, because it is something that we all need to work on. Being celibate, being in a marriage, being in a relationship, also we can be brahmacharis if everything is happening through us in moderation. Where we go wrong is the extra laddus. I like that example, so I'll always use that of Murli's extra laddus. Abhi bahut sare hai samne. So see, now like I'll tell you an example. The other day we wanted to have ice cream. So we went and had Baskin and Robbins ka ice cream, which was years since I had had. So I said, बहुत साल हो गए खा के, I'm going to have a double scoop. Okay, that was the greed within me that was saying it. Okay, कि 2 साल से नहीं खाया इसका ये meaning नहीं है ना कि 2-3 scoop खा जाने का. But I said I can definitely have a double scoop. It was torture for me to finish those 2 scoops. I said अभी जिंदगी में कभी touch नहीं करना है ये चीज को. Just see how the thoughts come. Okay. And then after a few months, like over the time, then we said, okay, now let's have ice cream. Now when we went and had ice cream after a few months, it was one small scoop, that's it, finish. And it's satisfying and it's enough. Now what problem is, हम लोग एक तो over indulge करते हैं या तो उससे दूर भागते हैं. ये दोनों खतरनाक है. So it's not that I'll never touch it also, and it's not that I'll have 3-4 scoops and then never have it. Whenever you want to enjoy anything, take little in moderation, actually feel the taste of it, be in the moment and relish it and finish it. उसके बाद में कोई याद ही नहीं आया आइसक्रीम का. जबकि नहीं खाएंगे तो याद आते रहेगा, और बहुत सारा खाएंगे तो नहीं चाहिए, अभी कभी नहीं चाहिए, ऐसा हो जाएगा. So don't overdo or don't not do also. That is brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is where you do everything in moderation, so that the mind doesn't have to think about it. If the mind is thinking about anything, that means you wanted to do something or eat something or whatever it was, and you didn't do it or you overdid it. Both are wrong. Both will leave you in some mess. So the mind should be in a state wherein you decide that everything in moderation. That is brahmacharya. तो ये जो हम लोग ओवर थिंकिंग कर रहे हैं, that is taking away a lot of energy. And when I see most of us are overthinking, most of us, you should be relaxed. Because there are people to think ना, भगवान अगर मानते हो कि भगवान है तो उसको कुछ तो काम दे दो ना, वो भी हम लोग ही करेंगे तो वो क्या करेंगे? If there is a divinity, if there is a self, if there is Ishvara, if there is someone you trust, if there is a master, वो करेंगे ना. Why are you thinking so much? Why are you waste thoughts? Why are we gathering these waste thoughts? It's not necessary. Don't address them only. It's like मेरा पेपर ना कचरे के डब्बे में है, so I put my hand in the dustbin and try to remove some bill. We all may have done it at some time. कुछ bill घूम गया करके डस्टबिन उल्टा कर दिया था. We all would have done this. So the point is, this is what we are doing in the waste thoughts. Imagine where we are today. So be very careful. Brahmacharya pratisthayam virya labha. Virya is not necessarily only energy. It's like bioenergy. Basically, it's the sexual energy which is saved, kind of. Virya. It's like lot powerful energy. So this energy is saved. Labha is it's benefited. So it stays with you. But when it stays with you, you should know that it has to be started to convert it to sattva. Otherwise, it's going to bring all kinds of desires up. Because a rajasic mind will bring all desires out. A to Z, जो भी याद कर सकते हो सब बाहर आएगा. So then you don't know what to do, because there's no activity to do. You don't know how to expend the rajas. So simple ways, do yogasanas. अच्छा खासा टायर कर लो खुद को योगासना में, because in yogasana what happens is when you tire out also, you have not wasted the energy, you have transformed the energy to sattva, because what results is sattva. After you have done a yoga practice, you may temporarily feel a bit like, but now I'm done, I don't want to do anything, but that energy which you were going to spend got transformed or difference ho gaya usme, it became sattvic, and it's more useful to you now, and it's less troubling on your mind also. Okay, so what will you do? As I said, most people will sleep, so be careful that when the energy comes, you are not going to sleep off again. So when we sleep around 10:30, 11 in the morning or in the mid noon and all these times, these are not times when we are supposed to sleep. This is the time when we are supposed to work. Even if you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, don't sleep at 10, 11, 12 and all. Take a early lunch and lie down for 20-30 minutes. That makes sense. But हम लोग कभी भी सोते रहते हैं, कभी भी नींद लग गया, unless you're sick, don't do it. Be very careful, because here the energy what you had gathered in the morning turns to tamas, and then you are not available. You feel pata nahi why I slept, abhi na kuch ho hi nahi raha hai mere se. This is also, I have heard all these things. Nahi ho raha means you have changed the energy pattern to tamas. So these are small things I'm telling you, but be aware, because each day you'll find this in front of you. Okay, so this was that. So how to preserve, you understood. A scattered mind. Another thing is, when your mind is concentrated, very much in focus, very little energy goes. Very little for the same work, like we spoke in the beginning. If I'm focused on the talk, my energy expansion will be very little. But if my mind is scattered, I'm thinking too many thoughts and I'm distracted here and there. For the same talk, I'll need 3-4 times the same energy. So concentrate kaise kare? See, bring love into the action, and you will notice that less energy goes. If you don't want to do something and you're forced to do something, then you're like, kar lete, and your mind is going all over the place. But if you just love the work you do, you got to be focused. There is no other way. Like in a romance or in a love or in a relationship, how focused you are on the partner. Pura idhar udhar bomb blast hoega to bhi sunai nahi dega. That is the focus we are speaking about. So when you're doing your work at a job, wherever you are, focus on the work. Focus, bring your concentration into that place. Because first of all, we need to think, why am I even here? Suppose I'm working in a workplace, why am I working? I'm getting something out of it. So let me focus there. Let me put my attention here. Let me not, अरे चलता है यार, ये 2-4 पेपर ही sign करना है ना. Meanwhile, I can keep thinking. Don't think so much. That's not required. When there is a problem, sit with the problem and solve it. That is when you're thinking. ये दिन भर जो सोचते हैं, that is not thinking. That's only playing with your thoughts. Okay. And another thing is naturally जो control आ जाएगा, that is brahmacharya. And forced control is not brahmacharya. Be very careful. Like, I want it, but I'm not going to have it. I want it, but I'm not going to have it. This is fooling yourself. That is not brahmacharya. If you want it, then you have to observe it. Why do I want that? What is it about it that I want? Just look at it. Just observe your desire. And then you get over it. Not by either running or by grabbing. Dono nahi chale. So you have to observe the desire. When I said I don't want the Baskin Robbins ice cream, I was wondering, why am I saying this? Then I overindulged. Okay. So next time I'll be careful and I'll just have as much as I can, physically can. And now I'm fine with it. So this was an example. This is for all aspects. Okay. So brahmacharya will close here because it's a never-ending topic. Next comes the 5th yama is aparigraha. Aparigraha is similar to aste, but not actually similar. Aste is translated as non-stealing, wherein you have to be honest and not किसी और का अपना नहीं बोलना है. उसका है, मैं अपना नाम नहीं डालेगी उस पे, something like that. So no, non-holding basically. This is non-hoarding. Hoarding, actually, if you see, the poor, see, India became like, it was a very rich country. If you were sharing, we would have been richer. At one point, we started, we stopped sharing and we became poorer. So a section of population is rich, the rest is poor. So it shows that there is a discrepancy here, because in the West, if you see, almost everyone is in the same boat. Like almost everyone is like having a car or a house or a basic food or something. Here, ekdam garib bhi hai, ekdam amir bhi hai. So that shows that there is some mess in the system. Okay, this is not correct. This is happening because of parigraha, because they are hoarding. One person is hoarding so much that 100 million, maybe 50 million or 20 million are sleeping hungry. We don't know how many millions. But because one person is hoarding, the rest are dying of hunger also. People are dying of hunger also. Why are these people hoarding? This is where the entire system has, collapsed. So non-hoarding, it comes from miserliness. जो माइजर होते हैं ना, जो धूप की कंजूस जो बोलते हैं हम लोग हिंदी में, सो दे डोंट वांट टू गिव, थोड़ा थोड़ा सा, हल्का सा, आई हैव 10, आई विल गिव मे बी 1/4, सेवा के लिए और व्हाटएवर, टू गेट पुण्य और व्हाटएवर. Giving, see, non-possessiveness, it's also called non-possessiveness. Forget about food and all, let's discuss about people. How possessive are we about people? This is something all of you need to ask yourself. Attached is different. If you're attached, it's a different concept. We'll deal with that in Gita. That's a different story. We are attached to people. It's okay. But are we possessive? Possessive is where I feel that I own this person and I will not allow the person to do anything that I don't want. Usko possess karna, usko apna, like I keep it in my purse kind of thing. Are we attached or are we possessive? Is someone attached to you or is someone possessive to you? Be very careful with this. Possessiveness is not accepted at all. Attachment tak theek hai. Are we getting possessive about our children, our spouses, our parents, or whatever? Think about this. This is something you really need to think, okay? Because ye jo hai na, mera is the problem. My spouse, my bacha, my this, my house, my car, my jo aa raha hai, ye mine god is possessiveness. It's not attachment anymore. It's turned to possessiveness. So छोड़ देने का बहुत easily हो जाना चाहिए, जो भी है, जिसको भी है, even if it's a thing or a person or whatever, we should be able to allow that person to be the way they want to be, flower the way they want to be, and not be like we want them to be. It's not fair because their seed is different, our seed is different. So be careful about this, whether it's wisdom, whether it's knowledge, whether it's whatever. Don't hoard anything. Don't be possessive about anything. Okay? कितने लोग हैं जो पुराने फोटोज देखते रहते बार बार, वो भी अच्छा नहीं है. पुराने मेमोरीज को होल्ड करना जरूरी नहीं है. There is Purana memories or incidents or whatever are just references for us and not for a daily show. Okay, it's not something that रोज में एक बार मंत्र जाप करते हैं वैसा रोज में एक बार I will think of my past beautiful memories or sad memories depending on my mood. No, most of us may be even thinking of good things. I had such a good time यार, I had such a, ये रोज बोलने की जरूरत नहीं. It is like we are hoarding it, unnecessarily trying to remove it, and उसके ऊपर हम लोग present moment खो रहे. So hoarding, be very careful. Basically, I read somewhere that being miserly is a spiritual constipation. So don't be miserly at all, especially because all of us are on the path. Let's not get into this. It's like constipation. All of us who suffer from any kind of constipation also are hoarding something. हम लोग को लगता है नहीं यार, खाना भी बाहर नहीं जा रहा है. सोचो, it's not, believe me, it's very strange, but there's an incident that I'll tell you, that there is a thing called Shank Prakshalan, wherein you clear your intestine. You drink a lot of salt water in the morning and sab nikalta hai bahar. It passes out through the stools like 10-20 times. There was one person out of the 5-6 who were doing it, that one person was not able to go and pass the stools. She was crying and crying and crying, but she couldn't go and pass the stool. She was holding on to something. दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम वी ऑल हैव. बाहर ही नहीं आ रहा है मतलब हम लोग ने कुछ पकड़ के रखा है. नहीं तो एक 2-4 ग्लास सॉल्ट वाटर पिया तो झक मार के यू शुड बी ऑन द पॉटी. देयर इज नो अदर वे वी कैन डू एनीथिंग. इफ यू आर नॉट एबल टू मीन्स यू आर होल्डिंग ऑन टू समथिंग. इफ योर इंटेस्टाइन्स आर नॉट गेटिंग क्लियर्ड मीन्स वी आर होल्डिंग ऑन टू समथिंग. So in the yogic process, they will make us generally when we go for higher trainings and all, Shank Prakshalan is one of the kriyas. It's a shaucha. षट क्रिया बोलते हैं उसमें से. दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज इट रिलीजेस आवर कर्मा. इट इज सो स्ट्रेंज. ऐसा लगता है सब पूप किया ना, क्या कर्मा क्या निकला. कितना कुछ है अंदर. वॉट एवर इज देयर इन द इंटेस्टाइन, जो आंत पे भी जो चिपका हुआ है वो भी तो कर्म है. वो भी दैट्स ऑल्सो एन इम्प्रेशन. So that's a visible impression. Can you imagine the invisible impressions we have gathered? And next topic which will come in near my shaucha, and that's going to be really, you know, सबका वाट लगने वाला है दिन. क्योंकि हम लोग को जो शौचा लग रहा है और जो शौचा है is completely, you know, not taking a bath. It's much more. Shat karma and this kriya and all this comes in shaucha, because even our you know, even our sweat will tell what is happening inside us. So that much hoarding we have, that much you know, let's get into non-hoarding totally. So no miserly behavior. जो है जितना है, जिसको देना है दे सकते हैं दे दो. Don't hoard anything. And the physical things are okay finally, but I feel worried about the mental things we hoard. Like we may have memories, we may have hurts, we may have some fears and some incidents which we hoard inside. And we are not letting it go. We are kind of pushing it inside, but not letting it go. Because if I have an extra sofa, I can give it away. Because it's I can see it every day. अरे यार ये दे देना, अरे. लेकिन ये जो अंदर है, we can give away the stuff we have. Most of us wouldn't mind giving away because we can buy more. Our clothes, food, everything we'll give away. What about the other hoardings we have inside us? The memories are the worst thing. They staying there is different, and we recollecting them and, you know, trying to relive them is very dangerous. Don't relive anything. Live life. Live life. तो relive करने की जरूरत नहीं है. If in the moment you have enjoyed totally, you don't have to keep thinking क्या tasty आइसक्रीम था, कब खाऊंगी. ये जरूरी नहीं पड़ेगा अगर वो moment में मैंने वो आइसक्रीम पूरा enjoy किया तो. So be in the moment and relish whatever you are doing. Whatever it is, be in the moment and relish it. It really doesn't matter. Okay, so this was there. It also says it's non-greed. So also greed is not required. Okay, it says in the sutra, aparigraha sthairye janma kathanta sambodha. It means that sthairye means when it is established, janma kathanta, the mysteries of stories of life are revealed. When we feel अरे life is so mysterious, क्या क्या mysteries है life में, अगर ये reveal होना है, अपरिग्रह बहुत जरूरी है. So what we thought, मेरा घर खाली कर देगी मैं, so I'll give away all the food, all my clothes, and I'll be wearing some one dress and roaming around like a sannyasi. So अपरिग्रह हो गया. सिर्फ शरीर के तल पर हुआ. मन के तल पर अपरिग्रह करना जरूरी है. If you want to understand what is Janma Katanda Sambodha, it will reveal the mysteries of life, the past, the reincarnations, and so many mysteries कि क्या हो रहा है, the whys in the house of life. You feel why is this happening, how to solve this, why and how का जो हम लोग का spiritual questions है, that will get solved if we practice अपरिग्रह in the mind, in the head. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. दिमाग में इतना सारा जो वेस्ट थॉट्स है, थ्रो इट आउट. Throw it out. Simple ways, do lot of chanting. It helps a lot, because mantra chanting, even if you're bored to chant a big mantra, just take Om. And Pitru Paksh is going on, why not chant the Trayambakam Yajamahe? Do the Mahamrityunjay mantra 108 times and do the Om chanting, do the Om Namah Shivaya, do the Om Namo Narayana. Doesn't matter what you're doing, but with chanting chalu rakho, so Kaya Vacha Manasa all is taken care of. Because it will start purifying. We don't know it purifies beautiful. Okay, and pranayama, jitna ho sakta hai karo. Whenever possible, do deep breathing. So that will create and clear both the nasal passage and the ना सब clear हो जाएगा. हम लोग लगता है nasal passage clear करने से क्या होगा? बहुत कुछ होगा. So this is what. Now another thing is take less and give more. Make this your funda. Take less, give more. Okay. And then non-greed. Okay. Be like the tree, which we spoke in Gita also. वो ट्री जिसके ब्रांच में बहुत सारे फल लगे हुए हैं, you know, it's bent in humility and you can just pluck those fruits. Be the branch which wants to give the fruits. Okay, सबको दे देना है. ऐसा एक you know, whether it's love, wisdom, whatever is flowing through you, please give it. No point in keeping. God has made all of us, the divinity has made all of us with some quality. If I keep that quality and not give it to others, when the others are going to enjoy it, that means I'm hoarding. Like if you have a very good knowledge base and you're not sharing it, you're hoarding. If you have a very good voice and you're not singing or you're not doing what needs to be done with that voice, then you're hoarding. Whatever quality God has given, if you're painting very well and you're not painting because nobody wants to see it, it doesn't matter, you still paint. Because your qualities you're hoarding. Both are wrong. It is your expression. You can't hold on to it. It's not fair. It's not fair to nature. मैंने ले तो लिया, प्रकृति ने मेरे को दे तो दिया. It's God's gift, but I'm not going to return it to God. It has to be source to source. Nothing for us. Source से लिया, source में वापस. मेरा कुछ नहीं. That is aparigraha. Okay, so now we'll go to niyamas. Okay, we have 15 more minutes. So what these things were 5 yamas. Now we have 5 niyamas. Yama niyama is what we understand is yamas are something which I discipline myself for others. Niyama is the discipline is me to me for myself. I do for myself. The yamas are I do it for others. You know, when I'm dealing with others, not for technically for others, but when I have to deal with others. So it is us with others and niyama is us with us. Me with me or me with others. Okay. So what science says is speaks about gravitation. Okay. There's a gravitational force. How are we standing? Suppose I stand now and I'm sitting now. Why am I not levitating? I'm sitting on a chair. The gravitational pull is pulling me, right? But how am I sitting upright? Who is pulling me from up? Think. All of you think. I'm sitting because gravitational forces pulling me down. Why is it not pulling me down underground? Why is my head and my entire torso still visible and the rest on the chair? Gravitational force has kept me in a place, standing. But then I am not sinking. I am still upright. How? Is it because only I have a spine or something? There is a grace. There is always an opposite. Opposite to gravitation is grace. The grace is holding us. This is how I understand it. There is gravitation and there is grace. So when I read this somewhere, I thought, wow, this is how it is. So I thought I'll share it. There's gravitation which is holding me. It can pull me down also, but grace pulls me up. तो हम लोग ये जो एनर्जी रेजिंग कुंडलिनी जो भी बात करते हैं ना, तो ग्रेस से पुल अप होगा और ग्रेविटेशन से नीचे it will stay grounded. Or it can go underground also. It can go deep, you know, pull us down into. Actually, all of us who are much interested in the yoga, na, we should take the first chapter. Because there are beautiful things in that first chapter, wherein it is clearly defining the nonsense of the mind. There are viparyas, you know, and there is antaryas. So all, you know, what happens, angameva jayate, all these things are like depression jo hota hai hum log ko. Why do we face depression? What is depression? It's pulling us down. It's pulling us down. What? The gravitation. Why? Because we lack grace. The minute you meet somebody and किससे बात हो गया, अभी ना बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, grace मिला. So you got the grace and it pulled you up from your, you know, underground state. To come out of depression, you need somebody who can shower grace on you. And at that time, you should be prepared to receive the grace. And then your spine becomes erect. It's as simple as that. So understand this. Science will speak about gravitation. Yoga will speak about grace. So here we are understanding grace. Gravitation we all know because it grounds us. Grace lifts us. And we need to rise. We need to rise. हम लोग बोलते हैं हम लोग को energy raise करना है. कैसे होगा? If all the time I'm busy with my gravitation, the grace is not working on me. So then what do? I do a lot of things from morning and evening and night, and all the time I'm doing spirituality, but I'm not getting into grace because I'm not allowing the grace to. Grace is something where you need to open your door. मेरा दरवाजा बंद है और ग्रेस नहीं आ रहा है मेरे पास. And then suddenly मैंने स्वामी जी को फोन करके बात किया, and suddenly I felt uplifted because I opened the door for स्वामी जी. That's all. उन्होंने कुछ नहीं किया होगा, but वो ग्रेस चल रहा था. I didn't open the door. So we used to always say, keep the door open. It makes us vulnerable, but it doesn't make us miserable. Remember this. Because क्या होगा? I kept my door is open now. Suppose even now my door is open. Somebody just walks in. They take something from me. इससे ज़्यादा क्या कर सकते हैं? जो भी करेंगे वो शरीर के तल पे ही होगा. So taking away something, but if I lock the door, I'm miserable. Because I'm not ready to receive any grace. I'm not ready to give anything I have. So I'm not saying keep the door open, but vulnerability is absolutely necessary in the last stage wherein you want to receive grace. तो जब हम गुरु के सामने रो पड़ते हैं या just we say अरे नहीं हो रहा or something, or even while praying we do it, we are in a vulnerable state. And that moment is when the grace is absolutely received. But we are afraid that if I let go, I'll become vulnerable, and I don't know, maybe that's not the right way. So this doubts, जो है samshaya, that is one of the viparyas. So that's what I said. If you really want to understand, we should learn the first chapter. The samshaya comes. Samshaya is very, very dangerous, but it's also necessary in the beginning. Like I shouldn't be in blind faith also. So one day we'll talk on faith and trust. Faith is something that I have. Faith is something that is enforced on us by society, parents, etc., etc. But trust is a gift. Trust comes with grace. It has to be earned. But faith is something which is like, मेरे को है यार विश्वास है. Sometimes it's better to doubt. In such a case, blindly believe करके चलने से अच्छा कि doubt करते रहो. इतना डाउट करो कि एंड में यू विल रीच ट्रस्ट. ट्रस्ट हैज टू फ्लावर. ट्रस्ट हैज टू फ्लावर. और you cannot say मेरे को बहुत श्रद्धा है. It's not possible. We'll have vishwas, and vishwas is like something which can be davadol anytime. आज विश्वास था कल नहीं, कल था आज नहीं, because it's conditioned. Trust is earned. Okay, when you have trust, it's trust. Finish. Then there is no question. So all these things we need to remember. So the niyamas. Yama, niyama, okay, 5 plus 5. Niyamas are shaucha, santosha, tapasya or tapaha, swadhyaya and ishwar pranidhana. So shaucha, santosha, tapaha, swadhyaya, ishwar pranidhana. The last three, the tapaha, swadhyaya and ishwar pranidhana equals to kriya yoga. Okay, we'll understand that later on. Just keep a note that these three combined becomes Kriya Yoga. So what is Niyama? Niyama is also disciplines and regulations that we need to impose on our own self. Ahimsa is okay, ठीक है, सबके लिए भी जरूरत है ना. You can't be just going and hitting or being violent with people. So yeah, ahimsa is required for others. Satya, asteya, whatever we learned is required. When it is, if there is nobody on this planet, I am alone, do I understand ahimsa there? No. Satya, किसको? कुछ हुआ ही नहीं, बोलना ही नहीं है किसी को कुछ, ना खुद से बात करना है, कुछ है ही नहीं करने को. So always these things are for outside. For a social conduct or interaction with people, or if there is a world, all this is needed. But niyama is for yourself. Shaucha is for the self. Shaucha. Santosha is contentment. Okay? Contentment is not अभी क्या करें यार, अभी कोविड है ना, छोड़ना, अभी यही हम लोग का लाइफ हो गया. We are consoling ourselves. Consoling and contentment are two opposites. कंटेंटेड वो रहेगा जो बोलेगा ठीक है, बोलेगा नौबत ही नहीं आएगा, दे विल जस्ट फ्लो. ये खुद को जो हम लोग समझाते हैं, दैट इज कंसोलिंग, एंड देन फीलिंग वी आर कंटेंट. Please, let's not fool ourselves in this. So when we get into contentment, that's another story. I hope it will finish in 1 hour. Then comes tapaha. If we are not in contentment, okay, contentment बिल्कुल नहीं है, तो फिर तपस्या नहीं कर सकते. It's very challenging. If I'm very contented, my tapasya is fruitful. Otherwise, I'll feel I'm doing tapasya, but I'm not there in the tapasya. Tapaha is what? खुद को तपाना है. कैसे? By when you do Surya Namaskars, when you do so many other things, but you're not content, then you're not doing fully. You're only 50% in the process, maybe 20% in the process. So tapaha ka full fruits chahiye, so then it's best to go stepwise. It's very, very important to follow all the steps we are following. Then your tapasya becomes like superb tapaha. Beautiful. Then the swadhyaya. If I have not done tapasya, what self-study will I do? And then Ishvara Pranidhana. I have to surrender to the divine or to the self. क्या surrender करूं? तपस्या नहीं किया, स्व का अध्ययन नहीं किया कि मैं I have not done any scriptural or self-study. What am I going to surrender? Who am I going to surrender and who is going to surrender? All this we'll understand in Ishvara Pranidhana. Okay. So first of all, Shaucha, Santosha, Tapaha, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana. The homework here is, do we have these qualities? Do we have the Shaucha, Santosha, Tapaha, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana? Swadhyaya is self-studies, understanding the self. बट उसके लिए तपह करना पड़ेगा, पता चलने को मैं है कौन. वो मास्क पहला खोलना पड़ेगा तपस्या करके, तभी पता चलेगा मैं है कौन. And then I can surrender myself to the self. So all these things are interesting. Even if finally these qualities you feel and you know, then you're on the path. But if you have doubt कि नहीं यार संतोषा तो कंटेनमेंट तो है ही नहीं, सपोज, या ईश्वर प्रणिधान नहीं हो रहा है, सरेंडर नहीं हो रहा है, then you need to check the cause. Go to the source. Go to the source of the thing. Okay, only then. I'll tell you a quick story. Then we'll find, do this homework, check if these 5 qualities are there. If something is missing, check क्यों नहीं. If you're not contented, check why am I not content. क्या कमी है? किस चीज के लिए? Why am I cribbing? Check all this. Go to the source and clear it from the source. ऊपर करने से कुछ नहीं होगा. Okay, quick story. It's very important because it's a very nice, you can relate to it. Now there's a rich man. Okay, this rich man has a lot of money, property, etc., etc., and he has a son who is very lazy. He is not ready to do anything. He's whiling away his time with friends, drinks, etc., etc. कुछ नहीं कर रहा. So the rich man is little upset. कुछ भी करने बोले तो गुस्सा आता है उसको. So he says, okay, I come here. He calls him and says, I have a big treasure. Okay, this treasure I have, saved it. And it is there some 1,000 kilometers away under a tree. So he gives him a map. He gives him food. Okay, he gives him some few clothes for different seasons. And then he sends him. Now, for that, this guy is ready. The son says, okay, this is interesting. But जाते समय इतना टेंशन में जाता है, when I'll reach, it's olden time story. ऐसा नहीं था कि flight था तभी. So he had to walk. So he reached after many months, and finally he reached the tree. But so much stress, he took all the journey. Finally he reached, he dug under the tree. He is digging and digging and digging for 2-3 days, no treasure. He's very upset. He's so upset. He says, my father fooled me. He fooled me on this journey. I came all the way. He's very upset. And then he sits for a day or two there, only very sad. And then he says, okay, I have to go back because I don't have money. I have no food left and I'm in a mess. So he starts walking back. When he is walking back, one person gives him shelter. After some time, another person gives him food. So whatever people he meets, he had met the same people while going. Same people he meets again, and he sees that people are ready to give him food, people are ready to give him clothes, they give him time, and he starts spending time with them. he actually starts spending. The one who has given him food, he's not in a hurry to go back. Anyway, he didn't find the treasure. So he spends time with them. The one who gives him, shelter, uske saath like marriage chalu hai. He stays there. He lives in it. He has beautiful experiences. And finally, when he returns home, surprisingly, when his father says, "How was your journey?" He says, "I didn't find the treasure." But he's very calm. He was so upset. But when he's telling his father, he's wondering, how am I so calm? I was so upset when I didn't find the treasure. And my dad is asking, "Did you find the treasure?" And I'm saying, "No," very calmly. So then the father says, "There was no treasure to find." Now he gets angry. He says, "Why did you send me on this whole thing?" So he says, "Okay, forget about that. I'll tell you the answer. Tell me how the journey was." So he says, "While going, I was totally stressed. But while coming, I had a beautiful time. I had a wonderful time." So then the father says, life, I'll read it out because I read the story. Life has no goal at all, okay, other than to experience it and grow with it every single day. Life has no goal per se at all, other than to experience it and grow with it every single day. And then he says, lead your life with a goal. But if you are constantly focused only on the goal, you will miss the real treasures of life. So just think, even if it's Adhyatma, self-enlightenment, if you're like, that's my goal, then you're missing your experiences. And Eleanor Roosevelt said that the purpose of life is to live it, to taste the experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experiences. This was said by Eleanor Roosevelt. Okay. So this I'll put it up if you all want later on. So it's to live it, to taste it, and to look for newer experiences, richer experiences. Okay. Let not the goal subdue you or suppress you from living life. Life is to live totally. So let's close. Amani Martia, who's going to do Shanti Mantra? Somebody do the Shanti Mantra.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you so much, everyone. Love you all and stay blessed. Bye-bye. See you soon.